Yo, what is up, guys? Undead Nerd here. And around this time of year marks 5 years since we lost Etika. And I'm kind of surprised social media hasn't made a big deal about this because it's been half a decade since we lost this guy, and no one seems to talk about him, stuff like that. But, yeah. So, anyway, I'm gonna be talking about my memories with Etika, how I discovered him, stuff like that. So, yeah. So I think I discovered. Well, not think. I did discovered him around the time Smash 4 was coming out. I don't remember if I found him during the Mewtwo reveal or during the Lucas reveal, because those were a pretty big deal to me at the time. And yeah, he was basically a meme all throughout the Smash Brothers community at the time because of his over-the-top reactions. And yeah, they were fun. I mean, and I wouldn't say he was my go-to at the time, but I did revisit him every once in a while. But but yeah, and I'd say his career definitely peaked when he got to Smash Ultimate, cuz I remember the March 2018 Nintendo Direct, they officially announced Smash Brothers, and he was screaming out loud. I was screaming out loud. I didn't really watch Nintendo Directs at the time, but it was thanks to that Direct and that Smash reveal that I pretty much make it a goal to watch every single one now. But yeah, but and then the special day came 6 years ago now. That's crazy, you know. So I was coming home from a dentist appointment. I didn't have a phone at the time. Yeah, I was 12 and I didn't have a phone yet. Don't make fun of me. But I was watching my iPad because that was the day Smash was going to be revealed, and because of Etika's famous reaction, I felt like it was time for me to scream all excitedly, even if I was in a car with one person. And funny enough, that dentist was 40 minutes away. Not 40 minutes away, like an hour away from where I live, because when I was little I had a some super something special surgery. I don't fucking know. But but yeah, so I remember Ice Climbers came on screen. I was like, "Oh my god." And then Pokemon Trainer, "Oh my god." And then Snake, "Oh my god." And then Wolf, "Oh my god." And then Ridley. Funny enough, a guy I know, GameCube dude, he did a reaction to E3. Unfortunately, it's lost media now, but I watched that before I watched the entire Nintendo Direct. Thank God nothing else was spoiled. Thank God the Everyone Was Here was not spoiled for me at the time. It was just the Ridley thing. So yeah, Ridley and Smash, we finally got what we want, boys. And yeah, I would basically go to Etika like every now and again, stuff like that. And I wouldn't say watched his streams religiously. I mean, I don't know if they were on YouTube or they were on Twitch. I don't even know when Twitch was made. Like, it had to be late 2010s or something. If it was earlier than that, then boy, I've been living under a fucking rock. But yeah. Speaking of living under a rock, I wasn't really there. It took me like until a few years later to figure out about Etika's mental health problems in his final days. Him calling himself Jesus, or, especially him going crazy in that interview with Keemstar. And I know everyone can go a little bit crazy on Keemstar. I mean, I'd say I'm mixed on him too. But yeah, I didn't know he got arrested, until years later. So yeah, that was kind of crazy. But I do remember I was watching Lex Chris at the time. I don't remember if it was in my vacation to the Bahamas back in 2019, because that was when E3 announced Hero and Banjo coming to Smash. And I think it had to be after or during, I don't know. He said Etika went missing, and I'm like, "Oh no." And of course, I didn't know all this shit was happening, so I thought he was gonna be fine. And then the news broke. He's gone. Very, very tragic. And I remember everyone was doing streams about Etika at the time. Even GameCube dude was. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of his streams are lost now. He hasn't re-uploaded them. But everyone, even I didn't understand. Everyone was spamming clown emojis in the chat, which was very disrespectful, especially since he died. And apparently people were doing that because Etika was embracing that before he died. Like, before he died, like, people were spamming clown emojis, he was spamming clown emojis because he was going crazy and stuff like that. But yeah. And after looking at his final videos about him going crazy, if I knew about that at the time, I'd be like, this is a sign he's not going to be with us much longer. You know, stuff like that. But, yeah. Again, I'm still surprised social media hasn't really been talking about this a lot. And then I discovered the main reason for his death, him jumping off the bridge in New York, was because of mental health issues. Now, as someone who went through mental health issues myself, I never had depression. I just had, your typical down moments, and I had I grew up with Asperger's, I grew up with OCD, and to be fair, Etika's pain was completely valid. Like, his pain about his fame was valid. Like, I heard from Corey X Kenshin because I rewatched his video about Etika recently, and, like, it said that he was worried that, no one was gonna like him anymore because of this or that. I don't know if that's true, but mental health is a serious issue. And it's something that's looked down upon by the US government. And that is unfortunately why we get. I'm not sharing my opinion on this subject, but that's unfortunately why we get a lot of shootings now. Because, no one fucking cares about others to help them. You just rather drive them into insanity, and the next thing you know, you want to defend the person who has been bullying that person. Why? All because the bullied person did something worse. They drew first blood, not me. And and especially social media, it's a huge ground for bullying. It's a huge ground for bigotry. Like, I have seen bigotry against my religion as a Christian myself grow because of social media. Whether it be supported by a famous YouTuber or some rando no one cares about. Yeah, some rando I don't care, but a famous person I definitely do. I'm not going to tolerate Brian Cox calling me stupid. But, yeah, and speaking of famous people, we live in a time where celebrities are allowed to say whatever they want now. They can even get to a point where they call you a Nazi, all because you don't agree with them politically. Again, celebrities are very childish nowadays because of social media. And the reason why we care about what they say is because we grew up with them. But, anything else? When I was a kid, I was worried about so many end of the world scenarios that I would just shun. I still shun it to this day. I'll explain it later. I would just shun everything from the news because I was worried that tomorrow we get a threat of an asteroid or a threat of a black hole or something like that. Then I embraced it. It's never gonna happen. We just came off of a worldwide pandemic. Alright? And, like, ever since the COVID mandates were lifted back in, February of 2022, there has been at least 5 or 6 different COVID hoaxes. Different reports saying, COVID's back, the mandates are back, blah, 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 blah. And it never happens. It almost never happens. But I'm still scared to look at it. That's the main reason why I turned off my newsfeed. And then I just embraced it, that the mainstream media is just trying to fearmonger people. And heck, Dr. Fauci just admitted that COVID's not deadly. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm not worried about the virus because it's basically been confirmed at this point that no one dies from the virus. Well, there have been, but most people don't. I'm worried about going back to those fascist days. The days of, if you don't take the vaccine, you're a moron. If you don't take the vaccine, you're going to be fired. And then next thing you know, we're going to have a stupid card for us to go in public. And of course, the mask mandates, the fascist clothing rules, over your face, stuff like that. I'm worried about those days coming back. Kind of surprising that Etika wasn't here to experience it, but yeah. And like, especially nowadays, especially in the entertainment field, like whether you're arguing this thing is woke, this thing is not. I support this. I don't support that. I've been in constant discourse with people all because of this argument. Like, people have been calling me an istophobe all because I don't like Iceman being gay. And I had to do a bunch of research. I wasted hours of my life proving something that I knew was true. But, yeah. Unfortunately, we're all gonna have bad times. We're all gonna have down times. We're all gonna be miserable at some point. But there's some people who have it worse than others. Mostly because of a mental condition. And that was Etika's case. Etika's gone. He's been gone for 5 years. And will forever be gone. You wanna know why you don't see a single social media post from John Belushi? Because he's been dead for 40 years. John Belushi is ancient at this point. When people say, don't commit suicide, do it for others. Yeah, it pains others, but do it for yourself. Don't do it for yourself. You want to live to become a famous person? You want to live till 90? You want to live till how old Dick Van Dyke is now? Yeah, one of his co-stars in Night of the Museum passed away recently, and do it. Don't let your sadness get you down. Go see a therapist. Get some pills. I'm sorry if that was a little insensitive. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert. Especially if you're young. You have dreams, do that first at least. Make a difference to the world. So yeah, 5 years since Etika died. Very surprising. But I will say, the Undertale streams that I rewatched recently were kind of funny because the people in the chat being so toxic and stuff like that. Boy, that fandom was crazy at the time. And even if Etika was still alive, I just wonder what would he even think? Like the Mario movie casting, or Super Nintendo World, or Sora and Smash. That'd be great. Like, how would he react to Mother 3? Still not being in the States. But yeah. We miss you, Etika. We will meet again.